Our first question today is from Bobby, and it's a longer question, but I think there's some value in it. Bobby says, I'm a mid-30s guy, so I don't know if he means he's in age 30s or if he's from the 1930s, but I'll answer it either way. Who has been lifting recreationally for a while, and I'm dealing with some lower back issues. Interesting, Bobby, and I think a lot of our listeners would agree. Weird things happen in our late 20s to mid 30s in our lower backs. It could be desk jobs. It could be, the first signs of the middle age spread. I don't know. But it's not uncommon at that age to get the first blast of back issues. Doc says the lifting combined with the Nordic skiing and ice skating winter and cycling and rowing in the summer may just be too much for my lower back given the way I'm built. And I think your doctor added a good point there given the way you're built. Certainly, in my world, DNA is huge. I would look for really tall basketball players and really tall volleyball players and really fast people in track and field. In the sports you're talking about, DNA is a factor also. So let's see how this goes. I recently picked up a stability ball and have swapped out overhead presses for single arm stability ball kettlebell bench press, kettlebell rows for single arm TRX rows, swings for stability ball bridge and leg curl as my hinge. Oh, I see. You got rid of swings for stability ball bridge and leg curl and Nordic knee bends instead of front squats as my squat. You're a brave man to do that. What do you think of these movements and about the value of the stability ball in general? Is there any negatives to keeping weight off your spine as much as possible, especially when you've already hit the heavy weights hard and reaped those benefits? I'm not a fan of any of that stuff. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of emails, but I think there's enough instability in the sports I coach in life that training on unstable things in the gym has issues. Now, listen, I've done it. This is maybe 20, 30 years ago when this stuff first showed up. You remember those, everyone was jumping up and down on the balls and, there are some exercises I like a lot. I like the big round ball and where you put your elbows on it and you do the circles with the planks. I think that has value. And obviously, because you're kind of overcoming injuries, I like it. But, and I do think, and I like what you're doing here, the single arm row and the single arm bench. I mean, I think those are great for everybody listening. I'm a big fan of both of them because they do chase your asymmetries. They do attack your asymmetries. I have no issues with the bridge and leg curl. And I'm not exactly sure when you say Nordic knee bends, because there's if it's the sprinter's curl that I'm thinking of, that's a high-end exercise. One of the things I think you're finding yourself naturally moving towards, Bobby, is bodybuilding more. And I think that's something I would chase a little bit if I were you. I would even go the opposite way of what you're doing. I would go, if you can, I don't know if you have a gym set up near you, but I'd go, if you can, go to a gym and do machine-based work. When I hurt my back, and famously I got back from the Middle East, and it was simply picking up a typewriter. But after all the stress from the parasite and the body weight loss and some other issues, I was one stick from breaking, and I broke the stick. I would recommend a lot of walking. I would recommend loaded carries for back issues. Walking, loaded carries. I would get into Stu McGill's work. He's got the big three that he teaches, which I think are fabulous. And if you are going to do any weightlifting for a while, let the machine be your stability. Keep yourself feeling good. When I hurt my back, I remember one time going into the gym and I used an arm curl and a tricep extension machine. And I might have done leg extension, leg curls, but just feeling my body, just feeling the pump. And I'm right back in 1977, pumping iron, just feeling the pump just made me feel alive again. I'm not a fan of a lot of that stuff. Now, having said that, I'm not a physio. I'm not a physical therapist. I'm certainly not a back doctor, but I've never liked them. you sent a question to my podcast, and I'm answering it as me. Oh, there's a shock. So there are some things I like in the world of rehab, and there's some stuff I don't. If this is what you're doing, stick with it. If anything comes up, you can always back off and move to machine training. And I'm begging you, get your walks in, and then put your hands, next time you're putting your belt on, make sure you measure your waistline. If your waistline is creeping up over half your height, so your height is 2, you want your waistline to be half that, so 1-to-2 ratio. If it's over that 1-to-2 ratio, let's also look at maybe sparing yourself some long-term injuries by looking at calorie control, and some walking. Interesting way to start today, but should you start to ease up on your joints, depending on what you want in life and where you want to be at my age, 68, being friendly to the joints is a good idea early. We have another question coming right up on some other things that'll tie into it too, and I hope I'll answer more of that question later. Thank you, Bobby.